Thanks, Alan. You guys enjoy the race down there. Green flag in the air. The chase is underway at New Hampshire. Pole sitter Kevin Harvick leads the first lap. He's got 5 bonus points. They could be big.
It's Kurt Busch looking on the bottom of Ryan Newman. Wow, what was that? Stremming.
Yes.
Looked like he was going to take it 3 wide there for a minute. Cars really slide around here the first few laps. The tire pressures are down low, so the tires are soft, they're cold. So you're really skating around on these first few laps. You got to be careful here at New Hampshire.
Harvick was second in the first practice session, then won the pole, then was fastest in both practice sessions here yesterday. A very popular...
Oh, we got trouble straightaway. 66.
Jeff Green hard into the wall.
Real hard. Oh, a spring is flying across the racetrack. Somebody ran it over, too.
To the garage, to the garage.
Looks like that 14 car Sterling Marlin may have run that spring over. I saw it sliding across the racetrack. Woo, he hit hard.
Boy, right in front of us. So Jeff Green brings out the first caution. And this happened right at the start-finish line. Watch the top of the screen, see what we can see.
Looks like Kyle Busch gets in the wall. There's a spring that goes slide across the track, and oh yeah, Sterling ran over it, and it's still hung up underneath his car.
Now this is on board with Jeff Burton.
Okay, looked like Jeff Green got into Kyle Busch. He got in the right rear. See the right rear damage here? He got in the right rear. It turned Kyle Busch into the wall.
He's got right front damage too, Alan.
Well, they want to check the toe in on the car. You see the bar, well, but you might not be able to see it from there, but the bar down the left side tires of the car there, trying to check the alignment of that front end to the back end, checking underneath the hood as well. They have concerns that they have knocked the front end out of line, and this is a really tough way to start the chase. What wasn't it? We were talking about his brother Kurt that ran into trouble just laps into last year's chase earlier, weren't we?
Exactly right. We want to get out of the gate strong. And it looked like Jeff Burton might have picked up some front end damage from running into the 66 as well.
Yeah, but I think that's pretty much minor. But there's a lot of damage right there to Kyle Busch's car.
There's the 31 of Burton.
31 looks fairly clean.
Both Burton and Kyle Busch in the chase for the Nextel Cup.
Got a little damage on the hood, but that's nothing. That's just paint damage.
So the caution comes out early at New Hampshire, and every chaser's greatest fear being involved in the first one in the chase. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
His car, it looks like he looks like he completely clobbers it with the left front, runs over it, and then it hangs there. So,
and he has been on and off of pit road.
Now Jeff Green's up on the outside of Kyle. Kyle just starts going up the racetrack, turns Kyle into the wall. The 66. He's just got his hands full. He gets tagged a little bit by the 31 car of Jeff Burton. That's not how you want to start your chase, Bill.
Nope. Feel gotten one to go. A year ago, it was Kurt Busch in early trouble here in New Hampshire. Alan, today, Kyle.
Yeah, this is his 4th pit stop he's coming down pit road for now, Bill. They are still working on the alignment of the front end. They've had some pretty significant damage to the right front tire as well. Right now, they need to come back down pit road. They have to tighten up a tie rod on the right front one more time before they can send Kyle out. And part of the problem is, because he's at the tail end of the line, he doesn't have much time to spend on pit road before the field would come by and put him a lap down. So instead of doing, say, 35, 40 seconds of work, they're doing it in 15 and 20-second bursts at a time, then have to button the hood back up, send him back out, and come back around again.
Yeah, it looks like that right front is towed out. It's pointed out a little bit too much, and I know that's probably what they're working on. But he hit the wall pretty hard. And I'm sure it bent something or it knocked something out of alignment for sure.
And to underscore Alan's point, by the time Kyle got to his pit stall, the leaders were already in the middle of the backstretch. He's on pit road, now starting to leave, and the field gets the green flag for the restart here at New Hampshire. Jeff Green treated and released from the infield care center.
Busch's car looks pretty good in the early stages. It looks like he'd really run that low line where some of these guys are sliding up the racetrack in the middle, like Jeff Gordon. And if you can keep the grip down there on the bottom, you're going to pass a lot of cars, because 90% of the cars are going to slide up the middle of the racetrack or even higher.
And that's the Tony Stewart line around this track. He normally can keep his car pinched down there all the way around this track.
24 is going to lose a spot to Kurt Busch. What's the 24 up to, Matt?
WD, his comments similar to what a lot of other drivers are saying earlier on, just lacking grip. His 26-year-old crew chief, Steve Letarte, making his one-year anniversary on top of the pit box as the man calling the shots, just told Jeff, let's race on the conservative side today, especially after what they saw happen early on.
We're going to come back at him, get on the inside.
Try to take the position. Ford made the point here on Friday that Tony Stewart's average finish last season was 8.7. Stewart ended up winning the championship. Gordon says their goal, not winning races, but finishing better than that 8.7 average, and he believes that will have them in contention when we get to Homestead. Denny Hamlin in that 11 car, one of the chasers, trying to rope in Greg Biffle. And right behind them, you saw Earnhardt Jr. in the 8.
Yeah, they're stacked up 2 by 2 for about 3 or 4 rows. There's Truex in the 1 on the inside of the 25 of Vickers. That's all for about 6 to 11 spot right there.
Jimmy Johnson trying to take a position. Alan?
Yeah, Bill, we're just going to talk about Denny Hamlin for a minute. I talked with Denny before the race started. You know, his first time in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series, let alone being a contender for the championship, he said, everything's fine. It's very calm. It's just another race for me. I really have handled it better than I thought I would. Dale Earnhardt Jr., I didn't feel was very happy with his car yesterday during final practice, but his crew chief Tony Eury Jr. tells me that on the very last run they made in practice, they hit on something. His last lap of practice yesterday was his fastest lap. They think they're going to be okay today. Matt?
Greg Biffle not in the chase, but chasing down that 11th spot in the standings. His car extremely loose now. He's tried to dial some front brake into it to tighten up the race car, but he made some interesting comments to his team under the last caution. There's something amiss in the steering box. When he goes to turn to the left, it seems to lock up, so that's a concern on the 16 team.
Thanks, Matt. We can update Kyle Busch back on the track, but now off the lead lap. And struggling to keep up with the cars on the lead lap. They pass him in traffic. Early trouble for the 5, AB.
Yeah, here's the follow-up now that crew chief Alan Gustafson and the team have had a chance, once the race restarted, to huddle and talk about the damage they saw under the car. They feel like the front end of the car is towed out. They told Kyle just to take care of it until they can get another caution. They'll bring it back down pit road. They told him it's okay to get lapped. Remember, they've got the lucky dog rule, so he's just trying to hope that he stays the first car 1 lap down, get a caution, make more repairs, and then get back on the lead lap.
That's if you don't wreck it first.
Doesn't look good, huh?
No, the car, we noticed a tow out on the pit stop, and it's just going to be a handful. It's a handful right now, but once these tires get some laps on it, it's just going to be that much tougher for Kyle to hang on to it. So I know he's driving hard. You got to drive it hard and be careful not to stick it in the wall, because, you know, you do want to get back in, like AB said, and fix it. You got a long way to go, so you still have time to salvage something out of this.
Jeff Green is out of the race. Ted Christopher has scored 7 laps down. He did not have a score at the start of the race. So he's scored, well, 5 laps down now, and Kyle Busch 1 lap down. He is in position to get the lucky dog, but first he's got to keep that car on the track and off the wall, Alan.
Yeah, Bill, and Wally, just one more question to put to you about that situation. Wouldn't he be concerned about that right front tire if he has to run a lot of laps on it, knowing that thing's got to be grinded up if it's not in proper alignment?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's the thing. This car's going to get a lot worse because you're right. That tire is actually pointed in the wrong direction, or too far in the wrong direction, let me say. And yeah, that's going to be a tire wear issue and can cause problems later. So trust me, they need the caution as early as they can get it. And he's far enough up into the field now, like you talked about earlier. He was way back there and he couldn't get into the pits, and he was almost a lap down when he hit pit lane. Now he's far enough up, he can dive into pit lane and he can make those changes without, or actually having more time to do it because he's further up in the field.
Mark Martin currently running in the 19th spot, trying to get a position from Carl Edwards, and an update from Marty.
Bill trying to work his way slowly and patiently to the front. I talked to Pat Tryson this morning. I know they have a very good race car. The last 2 times this car has run on the racetrack, it's finished top 5, including here in July. I asked Pat, well, how are you going to get to the front? He said, listen, track position is going to be the key all day long. We have some fast cars in the back with us, like Tony Stewart, right behind him right now. They may try 2 tires on an early stop, knowing that will give them the position they need, and they think the car will run well enough on those 2 tires to keep them out front. We'll see what they do on that first stop.
See if he can lock onto the bumper of that 20, because as BP would say, he's going somewhere. Tony Stewart marching forward. They're starting 32nd. Matt Kenseth started 25th. He's in the 24th spot. And Casey Kane, who started deep in the field, locked in traffic, back in 29th. On board with Kevin Harvick from the pole, the popular pick in the garage to win today. He's out front at New Hampshire.
Trouble up in 4.
A couple of cars involved, one in the wall. The caution is out here at New Hampshire. Joe Nemechek, a former winner here in Loudon.
Fired up, Joe. Go ahead and roll.
And he comes across the track right in front of the 2 race leaders and heads for pit road. See what we can see here. Nemechek.
Looks like he just drifted up in front of Scott Riggs, and Scott Riggs got into the bumper, turned him around. That happened right in front of Matt Kenseth, who's in 21st spot there.
So that got Matt's attention. Nemechek hard into the wall. Caution number 2. Now here's on board with Riggs.
Scott got after the gas a little bit earlier than Joe did. I think when Joe slid off the racetrack a little bit, it looked like the car was a little bit loose and he was having a hard time getting on the throttle. But it looks like that thing's bent too. 20, like the rear end's bent.
Yep, 29 laps are complete. Will be interesting to see what pit strategy unfolds here early in the race. Leaders are coming. Harvick waited to the last minute, but he decided to follow Gordon. And everybody else is too. Matt Yoakum.
And Steve Letarte talking about a small air pressure change for Gordon. His car still too tight in the center of the corner, but the drive off the corner was excellent. Tires on the wall, Dave, could be a 2-tire. Nope, they are indeed going with a 4-tire change.
48 car, pretty good, Matt. Just a slight air pressure adjustment on the left side. He's had to slowly get around the 2 car to get into his pit. May cost him some time, Alan.
Kevin Harvick just reported before the caution to his team he switched ignition boxes on his car. Said his engine picked up a miss. They're talking about that while they make a chassis adjustment and make a 4-tire change on the 29 car.
Alan, the caution fell perfect for Mark Martin and his team. Exactly what they wanted. Lacked a little front grip. They did take the 2 tires as advertised. 3/4 of a round in the right rear. Just a little too tight for Mark.
And you see the Nextel race off of pit road. That says Denny Hamlin and Jeff Burton come out first and second. That's what the computer says. There's the video. Hamlin looks to be first there. Green flag just out here at New Hampshire, the restart. And Denny Hamlin is the race leader. Then Jeff Burton. Then pole sitter Kevin Harvick. A 2-tire strategy being employed by several teams here early in the Sylvania 300.
See Burton taking a look on the inside. I don't think it's going to take long for Harvick to get back up to the front on 4 tires, but we'll have to wait and see here. But In the meantime, Burton trying to get down on the inside. Watch those bonus points for him as well. Harvick's just sitting there being patient right now.
Hamlin's gotten his bonus points. Two-tire pit stop for Denny Hamlin. Got him out front. Picked up 6 positions on pit road.
Harvick's like, come on, Jeff. If you're going to do it, you better do it.
Right.
I got to go.
He wants him to get those bonus points, but he doesn't want to be held up.
Right.
Hamlin, the 26-year-old from Virginia, leads early here at New Hampshire. Burton on his bumper, but can't make the move. Looks inside again as they head for the backstretch. 5 bonus points for leading a lap, and Jeff Burton would like 5 of them. Ticker at the top of the screen, the 10 drivers in the chase highlighted in yellow. Harvick says, I've got to go. 3 wide. Oh, he's into Hamlin.
That was a little bit more of a risky move than you needed to make when you're running for the chase here. Lucky he didn't cut down a tire on that move, Kevin Harvick.
Harvick leads, Hamlin back to 7. You said something about patience earlier, didn't you?
Yes, I did. None was shown there.
See Mark Martin in the 6th car. A 2-tire stop for Mark. That helped him pick up a number of positions off of pit road. Martin runs in the 4th spot. Stremme, Busch, and Earnhardt racing for 5th right here. It's on board with Earnhardt Jr. Kurt Busch in the 2. David Stremme in the 40. Earnhardt Jr. with a move to the inside.
See, the 11 car just lights up a little bit, and Harvick thinks he can just gas it and squeeze through. But they're real lucky they didn't cut tires on that deal right there.
On board with Harvick.
Also lucky 11 car didn't wind up in a wall.
A lot of luck going around there. Well, Harvick clearly knows how good his car is, and he wasn't going to sit there for very long. He let his teammate try for a couple of laps to get those 5 bonus points, but then Kevin saw just the smallest opening, dashed right into it.
I'm not sure he needed it, but that was more of a desperate move. I don't think that was really necessary. His car was so much better. I think if he would have just waited a lap or 2, he could have passed him down on the bottom.
Earnhardt Jr., one of the chasers inside of Kurt Busch. And the Budweiser Chevy moving forward. Talked to Earnhardt's crew chief Tony Eury Jr. this morning in the garage. He said all the pressure's off. Said we made the chase. That's what we wanted to do. If we're still in it with 2 to go, then we'll start feeling the pressure. And that was the message he delivered to Earnhardt. Go out there and race hard. Let's have some fun. And you listen to Earnhardt Jr. talk, and it really sounds like he did learn some lessons from the first year he was in the chase. Yeah, that wreck with Carl Edwards in Atlanta that year too.
Right.
And Earnhardt took full blame for that. So lessons learned, and now Earnhardt back in the chase. Gordon's gotten the position from Jeff Burton. So Jeff Gordon runs 2nd. Burton is 3rd. Martin 4th, and Earnhardt Jr. is 5th. Chasers running 1st through 5th right now. An update on Earnhardt from Alan Bestwick.
Yeah, Bill, you know, another word that Earnhardt Jr. has thrown around this weekend, redemption. Remember what happened to them in the race here in July, if you weren't with us for that? Engine failure. About halfway through the race, he finished 43rd. Part of a 2-week slide that dropped him from in to out of the championship, and he spent the next month trying to scramble his way back up. So Earnhardt Jr. wants to come here today, have a good solid run. He feels like they need to redeem themselves from the troubles they had here back in July, which, by the way, was a timing belt that failed on that car.
That was a rough stretch for him, Alan. Back-to-back 43rd place finishes. Well, maybe their chance of making the chase was over. But Tony Eury Jr. rallied the troops. And his driver went to work, and they're in it. Now racing after the Nextel Cup Championship. 3rd year in a row, Jimmy Johnson's been in the chase. He scored in the 9th spot. An update from Dave.
He has not been out without trouble in the chase, Bill, and today is not going to be an exception. He very calmly radioed to his crew moments ago, dropped a cylinder. Running on 7 will not win you a race at New Hampshire. It may hurt your chase chances really bad.
Denny Hamlin's going to zip right by him. Maybe not. So maybe more problems for Jimmy Johnson, but Kevin Harvick continues to run up front. He's the race leader at New Hampshire.
Front end through the corners. He needs some more forward bite, but they made no changes on that stop. They wanted to get as much track position as they could. Matt?
Marty, both Penske cars having a very solid day. Ryan Newman, the 12 car. Last win came here 1 year ago to start out the chase. Right now on the outside looking in, just trying to get another W. The car just still too loose through the center of the corner. AB?
Well, here's the driver of the day nominee so far. That would be Reed Sorensen in this 41 car. He took the green flag back in 31st place, drove up to 20th before the pit stop, took 4 tires on the stop, and now he's driven himself all the way up to the 13th place.
It was on lap 42 that Chase contender Jimmy Johnson radioed in that he had a cylinder, that he'd lost a cylinder on the 48. 13 laps later, they asked him, is it any worse? He said, no, it is the same. They're preparing to go under the hood on the next stop. Perhaps something as simple as just a bad plug wire. Marty?
Meantime, Jimmy Johnson's good friend Casey Mears is about to pass him. Currently, he's in 15th. The car a little loose in the middle of the corner, a little tight coming off the corner. They made an air pressure and wedge adjustment on the last stop for Casey. He, too, going to the front of the field. For Matt Kenseth, the struggling weekend continues. They couldn't figure out what they wanted to do on the last stop, and they had a debate about it on the radio.
No, I said I'm tight. I'm middle of the corner and exit. Tight, tight, tight. We need to make it looser. Okay, whatever. I don't know, Matt. If it's loose in, do we want to work on that, or what do we want to do getting off here? No, you need to work on the center and the exit. We need to get it off the corner and through the center somehow. Make it looser in the middle, and that'll help the exit. We need to turn in the middle.
Multiple problems for the 17 team to fix, so what they did, pound on left side tires, up 2 rounds on the track bar. They enter the chase of the championship leaders with 5 straight top 10 finishes, but they have their work cut out today in New Hampshire. AB?
And looking back at Kyle Busch, who entered this race in the chase for the championship in 4th position in points. Of course, had the contact just 1 lap into the race and lost a lap after limping around. He got the lucky dog pass, got back on the lead lap at the caution at lap 28. They've continued to chip away on repairs on this car. Right now, Kyle Busch is back in 34th place, but on the lead lap.
And a long time to work on it. 239 laps to go. Jeff Gordon, the 19th race he's led this season. That's the most of any driver. Missed the chase 1 year ago. Used the last 10.
You need to run in the top 10 every race. Somebody's going to be able to put that kind of a run together, and you need to be able to do that to win a championship. So obviously just concentrating on minimizing mistakes and failures and things of that nature.
Now the counterpoint to that is you get the most points by winning races. But Wally, as a driver, is it hard to go out there and race to just avoid bad finishes?
Well, you know, I think what he's doing, I mean, not if you have a good car, Alan. I mean, if you have a good race car, you can find your spot on the racetrack. You can run in the top 5. If your car's good enough, you could ride there until the end of the race and then go for the win. So I don't think it's hard to do that if you have a good car. If you don't and you're struggling, then that's a little bit different. It's harder to stay out of trouble, and it's harder to, you know, to do that. But you know, it looks like today Earnhardt's got good, and there's some guys in the chase that haven't won a race this year.
Right.
You know, so the championship is not. It's not really, doesn't rely on you winning races. Consistency is what wins you the championship. There's Dale Jr. at work. And this is a racetrack you really have to wait on. And what I mean by that, you know, you go down the straightaways. When you get to the corner, you brake pretty hard, but then you get off the brake pedal and you let the car coast. And you let it coast through the center until the car feels good. Then you start picking up the throttle. And then you really start pushing the throttle hard from the middle of the corner off. So it's just a kind of a racetrack. It's a lot of feel coming through the seat and the steering wheel.
And you slowly ease back into the throttle.
Right. You're just feeding the gas, and then when you're about 3/4 through the corner is actually when you just want to drop it really hard to the floor.
And here's something else to think about along the lines of what Earnhardt was talking about. There are tracks in the chase where drivers don't run exceptionally well. So when you get to a track where you do run well, you have to try and score as many points as possible to protect yourself from the tracks where you don't run well.
It's exactly right. I mean, you know, Martin is looking forward to next week.
Right.
Already. I mean, because he's a master at Dover. So he looks at this weekend as, you know, if we got a good race car, we'll go for the win. But if not, let's just try to get out of here without losing a shot at the championship after the first race.
Earnhardt has 6 finishes of 23rd or worse in his 14 New Hampshire starts. Also has 3 top 5s, including 5th here last September. Time for our singular race talk question. Last week we asked you, should NASCAR allow more points for winning? Now we want to know how many points. How many additional points should NASCAR award for a victory? To vote, text the word race to 191 on your singular wireless phone, and you'll have a chance to win a first-class trip to Miami. Should they get 25, 100, maybe even double the amount of points the winner gets?
See Burton going by Kyle Busch there, and it looks like Kyle's got his hands full with that car. That thing just looks like it is sliding big time loose.
He's 35th, 1 lap down, but he's the 3rd car 1 lap down, Kyle Busch. Get an update from Matt.
Bill trying to utilize the concept of teammates. Jeff Burton and Kevin Harvick came to New Hampshire with slightly different game plans as far as chassis setup. Burton felt like that Harvick's was a little bit better by the end of final practice, so they migrated more toward what Harvick had in his race car. He says the car turning well through the center of the corner just needs help on rear grip on exit, but right now he wants to leave it alone. We are halfway through a fuel run. Artie?
Alan will take that from you, Matt. Just to talk about Kyle Busch, we saw him there on screen, one of the championship chasers. Here's the latest on this 5 car. Still have some front end alignment problems underneath that car. You also see the aerodynamics quite messed up on that right front fender. Right now, a lot of what's going on with this team is crew chief Alan Gustafson on the radio, trying to coax and encourage his driver to keep him from getting discouraged and frustrated, telling him it's a long race. We've got time to work on the car. We're okay. Keep going. And we've got a caution out.
It's for debris, Allen. Debris in turn 2. Caution number 3. Jeff Gordon is the race leader. Then it's Harvick, Burton, Vickers, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., the top 5. So this will give the leaders a chance.
The drive-off's starting to go away, you know, a little bit. I don't know if it's just old tires or track, but
Jamie McMurray in the 26 car is the lucky dog.
So when Jeff is talking about when he says to drive off, when he gets on the gas, getting off the corners, the rear tires are spinning. They're slipping. They don't have grip. So he'll be looking to make an adjustment where it puts a little bit of grip in the rear.
Pit road is open, and there should be a lot of business down there. You have to be careful you don't get a speeding ticket. And the 7 men over the wall are about to go to work.
And Bill, Mark Martin reminded Pat Trice, and Pat Trice reminded Mark Martin, watch that speed when you come to pit road. Several other cars pitting down pit road to Matt.
Jeff Gordon at the top of your screen. Small air pressure adjustment in the right rear. Service is already complete to try to help his drive off the corner.
Kevin Harvick's team going to take a little extra time. They just put a spring rubber in the right rear of this car, so he may lose a couple of spots on this pit stop. He came in 3rd, a 4-tire change, and the 29 down and away. Dave?
The 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, has come to a stop in his pit stall. Ron Malik and Danny Emmerich, the engine tuner, are going to look underneath to see if they can see anything that's off, perhaps that plug wire. Jimmy said the engine was very smooth, even though on 7 cylinders, so he suspected it might be. They're still going to work under there. They tell the guys where the pit pace car is on the track, and they're only putting 2 pins in the hood because they plan to come back in and continue working.
get it back open. Come on, go.
So Johnson will head back out on the track, make a lap, and come back to the attention of his crew on pit road under caution at New Hampshire. Victory lane, Kyle Petty in the inside row. 32 cars on the lead lap. Jeff Gordon is the race leader. Here we go.
Guys on the outside want to clear these lap cars as fast as they can. And it really slows you up when you're side by side. Jeff Burton taking a look. Gonna lead that one, I think.
Eddie Christopher.
No caution yet.
Stay under green. Burton did lead the last lap. 5 bonus points for him. On board with his teammate Kevin Harvick, looking at the 24 of Gordon. Gordon has a teammate behind him, the 25 of Vickers. And Mark Martin runs 5th. The 2-tire strategy for Jeff Burton worked out great.
Yeah, it seems like on Gordon's car anyway, it takes a few laps to get those pressures up before his car really starts working good. So I've seen the last couple restarts, he's lost a little bit on the restarts, but then after 5 or 6 laps, he's back.
Burton used 2 tires to gain pit positions, then a forced tire stop. Alan, you watching the 29?
Yeah, Bill, I just want to do 2 things. First of all, I'll tell you that they did put a spring rubber in the right rear to try and help the handling of the car. It was something, this chassis configuration, something they had run in practice. They think it will help them a lot now. The other thing is they took the time to put that spring rubber in and never gave up a spot on pit road. That's a whale of a job by this pit crew. Marty?
Speaking of 2 tires, it also worked for Mark Martin, who was able to hang in the top 6. He was running 6th when he came to pit road. Caution on the racetrack. Jimmy Johnson, guys.
Hard into the wall. Caution is out at New Hampshire.
Still off, fellas.
Wow.
Can't hit him.
Spotter saying there was contact with another car. Chad Canals, crew chief for Jimmy.
He's up on the outside there. Biffle slowed down. Sterling Marlin hit the brakes and tried to avoid Biffle a little bit, turned to the right a little bit, and Jimmy Johnson was there. Watch to the left of Jimmy Johnson. You see, Biffle had to avoid the 07, and it knocked 14. Hit the brakes, he hit Biffle, slid up the racetrack, and got into the 48. I mean, Sterling was just trying to avoid a wreck. Nobody's fault, just being at the wrong place at the wrong time.
And that's because you're deep in the field.
That's right.
There's Chad. Their season last year ended with a crash at Homestead. And now the chase begins with a crash here at New Hampshire. And fans of the 48 team hoping you're right, Wally, that you get 1 mulligan in the chase, because right now it looks like Jimmy Johnson has used his in race number 1 here at New Hampshire. The 1 to go here at New Hampshire, but there you see the story of 3 of the drivers in the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. The 2 big stories, Kyle Busch hitting the wall early, and Jimmy Johnson's car now on the back of a wrecker heading for the garage where Marty Snyder is.
Well, guys, just to update you, Jimmy has gone into the infield care center, but take a look inside the garage area where the 48 team was ultra prepared in case anything did happen. They had a frame straightener, which is the thing off to the right. You see the little hook right there. They also had a welding kit ready to go in case anything did happen in the race today. There's that frame straightener, the big black thing you see right there in the L shape. That straightens out the frame of a race car, so they were ready in case this did happen, Bill. We'll get a word with Jimmy in just a moment.
Thanks, Marty. A break for Johnson. Jeff Burton leads.
Gordon's got a pretty good run going into turn 3. Looks down at the bottom. Not quite enough.
But you get the feeling in a couple of laps.
I do. At the 24, it just takes a few laps. Then you got the 29 there. It looks like he's going to fill that bottom lane after they've made those adjustments. Got another car on the wall. David Gillen in 38. Heavy damage on the right rear.
Still staying green. Harvick and Gordon battling for position. Harvick has led 46 of the 95 laps so far.
Harvick rolled through the center, just a little bit better than the 24, but the 24 could get on the gas a little bit earlier because he was up on the high side. That gives you a little bit more straightaway speed when you're on the high side.
Gordon's teammate, Harvick in the 25, right behind, or Vickers in the 25, right behind Harvick.
And now the 29 and 24 running side by side. Jeff Burton's starting to pull away just a little bit. He's got about 15 car lengths on second place right now.
These two are racing hard.
They are.
Caution is out. Part of a tire.
That was probably off of the 38 car, I would suspect.
It's down between turns 1 and 2.
Oh, it's off the 22. Off of Dave Blaney's car.
Of the strong run at Richmond. Trying to get down to the inside. And there it goes. And Blaney did a good job holding on to that car. Marty.
Well, Bill, perhaps prophetic words in our pre-race show. Jimmy said you can't win the championship today, but you can lose it. What happened?
We unfortunately had a problem with the engine, lost a cylinder. The thing was still running right, so we thought maybe a plug wire or a plug or something was wrong with it. And we came in and looked at the plug wires. We couldn't find anything there, so we're just trying to get to the next caution so we can work on it again. And unfortunately, we were the next caution.
I know you had an initial assessment out on the racetrack, but how bad is the damage?
That was a pretty good hit, so I hope we can get back out and meet the minimum speed and roll around out there and do what we need to for points. But that was a pretty hard hit. I was on the outside of the 14, and something happened. He came up into me and it pointed me straight at the wall, and off I went.
This is your third time in the chase, Jimmy. Can you recover from this?
I don't know. It's we just got to see. It's way too early. I hope that I don't eat the words that I said early on where you could lose it today. It's nothing on our behalf, just something weird with the engine that put us back there, and then I'm not really exactly sure what took place on the track that got me caught up in the wreck.
Jimmy will go assess the damage now, and he did get out of the ambulance with a smile, but obviously a lot of broken hearts here in the 48 camp, Bill.
For sure, Marty. And they're in that hole you were talking about.
It really is. It's a hard place to get out of. Watch this. The 17 and 22 here make contact. That could, yeah, cut his left rear down right there. Normally when you see the tire come apart like that, it's because you've made contact with somebody else. And you're running so flat here that you're so flat on the racetrack that when you bump into each other, you're just square, tire to tire, wheel to wheel, and you get a little bit of that sheet metal, it can cut the tire.
Kyle Petty was the lucky dog under the previous caution. Travis Quapple the lucky dog this time. Jeff Burton is the race leader. 101 laps are complete. Take a look at our DLP technology race recap. The day going for the chasers. Jeff Burton dodges trouble. Kyle Busch does not. Into the wall early in this race. Heavy damage. Scored back in the 34 spot. Kevin Harvick trying to muscle his way to the front. Hit another chaser, Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, there's 3 chasers on that one.
Jeff Gordon working his way around Kevin Harvick. Some hard racing between those two. Jimmy Johnson, first he dropped a cylinder in that 48 car, then went out, got caught in traffic deep in the field, ended up in the wall. Not the way he planned on celebrating his birthday. Tough day for Johnson and the Lowe's bunch. This is our DLP technology race recap. Update on the 48 from Marty.
And you can see this team back here in the garage area working diligently on the 48 team. And when you have a 48 car, when you have 550 employees, you have a lot of help. So all the Hendrick Motorsports trying to get this 48 car bandaged and back out on the racetrack. There's damage on the front end, damage on the rear end. The frame is bent, I'm being told by some of the team members. They're going to have to replace the rear trailing arms, also the rear track bar, several of the front chassis components as well. They'll have to replace on the 48 car. They're going to work to get them back in the race, but it's going to be a long time before the 48 is ready to go back out on the track, Bill.
Thanks, Marty. Currently 14 laps down.
And you still have to run the minimum speed.
Right.
So they got to get the car back together well enough to where you're at least running the minimum speed, or NASCAR will black flag it, which is 33.14 seconds around this racetrack.
And that's a pretty good clip at this point.
That is a good clip because they're running high 29s and 30s right now.
Field coming to get the green. Jeff Burton, the race leader. Four-time winner at this track. Won here leading all 300 laps in September of 2000 and leading only 2 laps in July of 1999. 174 wins since Jeff Burton went to victory lane. Trying to get there today and begin the chase with a victory.
That was a restrictor plate race.
Oh.
That was awful. I remember I was in that one. I don't think I passed anybody else there.
Nobody passed anybody.
It was terrible.
That race should be expunged like it never happened.
Yeah.
Jeff Burton out front as we go back to green. An update from Matt.
And trying to take advantage of the fact that Gordon's car takes a little while to come in. Burton inching away. His owner, Richard Childress, told him it seems like when you run a little closer to the bottom, your car is better than the 24. Meanwhile, Gordon, he's concerned that contact with another car might have pushed in the left front fender down by the valence. So they're going to keep an eye on that in case that car gets any tighter on their next stop. They'll just pull it out.
Looks pretty clean. I mean, there's a little crinkle there, but not enough, I think, to make a big difference on the handling right now. I think Vickers would like to get by the 24 car.
Vickers in that 25 has been strong since the green flag. Brian Vickers has had some really impressive runs this season and almost nothing to show for it.
Yeah, they've never been able to capitalize on the finishes.
Burton leads. His teammate Harvick runs second. About the 29, Alan.
Yeah, Bill, those of us who've been here at the racetrack all weekend know that everyone in the garage area was talking about this 29 car as being the class of the field, yet he has not been leading after lap 26 of this race. Well, Kevin Harvick came on his team radio not that long ago and said, I've got a better car than those guys in front of me. I'm just taking my time.
And that's what's good when you do have a good car, because you can. Although it didn't take his time on that one pass.
No, he sure didn't. Decided to try and muscle his way through. You see the championship standings, 107 laps into the chase. About 3,900 miles to go for the checkered flag at Homestead. You can see Jimmy Johnson way back there in the 10th spot. Earnhardt Jr. has gotten around Vickers into the 4th spot. And Mark Martin runs 6th. It's Mark back there looking to get around Kyle Busch. Kyle 33rd, the first car 1 lap down. So we can duck in our Aflac trivia question. Normally Benny cues the duck. BP not with us, but watching at home today. Who are the 4 chase contenders who have never led the championship standings?
I was working on it. The answer came up too fast.
The young guys. And right now the leader is Kevin Harvick. Our Aflac trivia question. Marty, what are you working on?
I'm trying to figure out what's going on with Casey Kane. He's kind of fading back through the field, Bill. Same car they finished 3rd with last week at Richmond. But Casey on this run, not happy at all. They were up in the top 10, but as you see, now in 15th, the car is fading as these tires get older. No front grip at all. He just came on the radio and said, man, this thing will not turn at all. Right now in 15th.
And he's going to lose that spot to Greg Biffle. They were doing some work on that 16 car on pit road, and it looks a little bit better now, too. Vickers trying to close in on Gordon. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has gotten around both of these guys into 3rd. Matt?
All over his teammate Bill. Now Brian Vickers, unlike the 4 drivers in front of him, he's not concerned about points. All he's concerned about is a win. Now his car starts out on the free side, then slowly comes to him halfway through a run. His car is really strong, but back right before his last stop on lap 81. He complained about a brake vibration, but he has said nothing about it since.
Didn't they have that problem someplace else? Was that the 24 that had that brake?
It was somebody thought it was at Richmond, but I'm not sure if it was a Hendrick car.
Jeff Burton, no problems. He runs out front. His teammate is second. Earnhardt Jr. is third. Then it's Gordon and Vickers, the top 5 at New Hampshire. But he's out front now, leading his teammate Kevin Harvick. Let's go through the field, starting with Matt.
Bill, Jeff Burton will tell you that he didn't go to Richard Childress Racing to end his career. He went there to basically restart it, and that's exactly what he's done, chasing his 5th win here at New Hampshire. Says the car, AB, just a little tight in the center, but not bad at all.
You know, you think about these guys racing for the championship, Matt, like Kevin Harvick running second right now, and you think they're under so much pressure. But Harvick says the key to dealing with these next 10 weeks is to not think about the pressure, but just do everything the way that you've done it all season long. Approach the race the same way, race on the track the same way. He's doing it today. He's racing up front. Dave?
Alan Dale Earnhardt Jr. runs third, and he doesn't always ask for lap times to be read to him, but he asked for 2 in a row about 5 laps ago. The second read was much worse, which means Junior's fishing for a line, and whatever he tried didn't work. He then radioed back, okay, no more lap times.
And Brian Vickers has climbed up in the 4th position. Says the car's a little free, but slowly coming to him. He's taking his time. His teammate, Jeff Gordon, not happy, though, with the 25. Says that I'm racing for a championship. He's not racing me like a teammate. Please pass it on to him. Gordon, though, complaining about his race car. Steve Letarte says they'll try to fix that left front fender on the next stop. Also calling for an air pressure adjustment for the 4-time champ, Marty.
Matt, before the race started, Mark Martin told me if we're going to win this championship, we have to get rid of our inconsistency and build in some top 10 finishes in these final 10 races, and we have to get better on pit road. So far today, they've been very good on pit road, chassis-wise. Mark hanging in there with a very loose race car, no rear-end grip. Tony Stewart has hung in here in about the 7th position after starting way in the back in 32nd. He made his way to the front. Then he felt like the race car was on top of the racetrack, not gripping like he would like, but he's hanging on that low line. Matt.
The 2-time New Hampshire winner, Marty, the 12 of Ryan Newman. His car was loose early, then it started to go on the tight side. Now he's telling his team it's tight down to 1 and 2. Loose, though, especially off of 4, Dave.
This is a hard place to pass cars, Matt, and Kurt Busch knows that full well with a tight race car. He radioed back, guys, it isn't getting better, it's getting tighter. I can't get anything done out here. Alan?
And Reed Sorensen, 20 years old, from the Atlanta area, down in Georgia, Forest Park, Georgia to be specific, having the drive of the day so far. Started 31st, he's up to 10th. I asked Reed before the race, are you ready to win? Do you have enough Nextel Cup experience to get to victory lane? He looked me square in the eye and said, yes. Denny Hamlin is not having the kind of day he was hoping for so far. Not that he's doing badly, he's back in 11th place, but he can't get the feel of the car the way he likes it. He talks about all 4 tires chattering for the first 15 laps of a run. They think it might have to do with some air pressure settings. Marty?
Alan, what do you do when the weekend's not going very well? You go to your teammate and say, hey, man, need a little bit of help. Casey Mears struggled on Friday and Saturday, went to Reed Sorensen, who you just talked about, very fast, said, hey, can we borrow your setup for today? They said, sure. That is the setup, same one Reed Sorensen is running, obviously going to the front. For Matt Kenseth, well, he's having a tough time out there. The racetrack is, the car is extremely loose. And we asked him earlier this week, does your 2003 championship help you at all in the 2006 chase?
I don't think it really matters much, to be honest with you. I think, you know, whoever's got the cars that are performing the best and, you know, takes the good performing cars and gets the good finishes is going to win the championship. I don't think there's that much to having experience or not having it. You know, you see, you know, young guys getting good cars with good teams and they're out there winning races right away. And you can see, you know, veterans, if they're not with such a good team or don't have things going good, they're not going to run good. So it's a team sport, and it's all about everybody, you know, how good everybody as a group is doing their job together.
But the experience does come into factor. Matt Kenseth, in fact, earlier thought he had a flat tire, didn't panic about it, stayed out on the racetrack, and that seems to have gone away. Matt?
All the Ganassi cars having a very good day. The 40 of David Stremme. Now, he was tight earlier. He also tried the right side tire idea back on lap 30 for track position. It seemed to help the car. Still tight, though, especially in the center of the corner, fading back a little bit. Meanwhile, the 16 of Greg Biffle started the day over 260 points behind 11th place Tony Stewart. That's his goal. They made an extended stay on pit road trying to dial in this chassis. Restarted 32nd, made his way into the top 15s. Marty?
And Matt, it is a long way back now to Casey Kane. He is in 28. Just cannot get this car to turn. He said, I don't know what you guys want me to do, but we need some major changes on the next stop. Kenny Francis, the crew chief, came on the radio and said, you know what? We may have a tire going down. We're ready on the wall if you need to come, but let's try and stay out there if we can. Bill?
Thanks, guys. Casey Kane runs in the 29th position. There are 32 cars on the lead lap. Kyle Busch, another chaser, is in 33rd. He's the first car a lap down. Jimmy Johnson scored in 41st back in the garage. Johnson does not have a DNF in 2006. Trying to get him back out on the track at New Hampshire.
Can begin to approach the leaders, and that's what he's doing.
I think Junior's running a really smart race right now. He probably has a better car than a third-place car right now, but he's being patient. He's not getting himself in the middle of situations right now. He's trying to stay in clean racetrack. Like Dave said, he's just plugging along.
And we heard earlier he was looking for the right groove, the right lane to run on the racetrack.
He found it.
It's closed up on second place, Jeff Burton. Two Richard Childress teams running first and second here in New Hampshire. Kevin Harvick is the race leader with 140 laps complete. Track on Friday, right? In your State Farm car. Is it smooth? Is it a smooth race?
Yeah, the track is very smooth. And it's funny how when you go out there and you walk and you look at these corners, and it's always Pocono always amazes me too. You think those corners are as flat as a board when you're in a race car. They actually do have a little bit of banking in them, but the track is real smooth. There's about 2.5 grooves on this racetrack, but if you can get your car to work down on the bottom, that's the best way around this place, if you can get the grip. But the brakes are real important here because you do use them a lot.
They put a note in there too, didn't they?
This way up, I think, or something like that.
Harvick continues to lead. We could be looking at some green flag pit stops coming up, not too far away. You're watching now.
Got it from Gordon.
Gordon thinking about getting it back. Meanwhile, Gordon's teammate Jimmy Johnson has returned to the track. Marty?
Bill just returned to the racetrack, and they bandaged the race car back together and actually sent Jimmy Johnson around the garage area. Did a couple of quick laps as best they could in the garage area, making sure everything was okay. It was 40 minutes they spent in the garage area, 19 men at one point that I counted, working on getting this 48 car back out on the racetrack. Now the question is, can he meet minimum speed?
NASCAR will let him know. Gordon getting the position from Earnhardt. Jimmy Johnson is 32 laps behind Ted Christopher, who is out of the race. That'll be the first opportunity for him to pick up 3 more points.
Hey, a guy that is really, another guy that's struggling is Casey Kane. He has fallen back to the 35th position. Marty, it doesn't look like they've helped that Busch.
Well, and what happened, Wally, is it took them a long time to diagnose that right front tire, which was indeed flat. 4.5 pounds was left in that right front tire. It's kind of hard to run around this racetrack with 4.5 pounds in the right front tire. They did find a very small cut. Casey, very upset on the radio, said, guys, we waited too long to pit. I'm quite angry right now, as you would imagine. Matt?
Marty, one of those racetracks, New Hampshire, very sensitive. You need to try to stay on top of it. Now the 24 of Gordon, they have lost the handle. The car is loose in, real tight in the center and loose off. Meanwhile, the 25 on your screen, Brian Vickers, slowly reeling in. The leaders, the fastest car on the track the last few laps. Even though he says he's lost overall grip, his car really coming in near the end of this run. Dave?
Matt, the 24 car may be not feeling quite as good about their race car, but they passed Dale Earnhardt Jr. And it was after that pass, the second one in a few laps in succession, that Jr. came back and told his team, we need to make this car turn better. Tight in the middle of the corner, Bill.
Thanks, Dave. You're watching the computer, aren't you?
Yes.
Sometimes your car tells you one thing, but then
Your butt tells you another.
yeah.
Because, yeah, Jeff Gordon's been the fastest car the last 5 or 6 laps. So I know he thinks he's lost the handle. I can't believe his team has not been telling him, hey, you're the fastest guy on the racetrack right now.
Gordon runs in the 4th spot. Tony Stewart in 5th. In that 20 car. Then Earnhardt Jr. Mark Martin is 7th. Marty, you got a car out there you haven't wrecked yet.
Yeah, exactly. And Stewart's having an outstanding day, Bill, and I haven't wrecked this car yet. And in fact, Tony was around all the other chasers, especially as mentioned a couple of times on the radio, being very patient around other race cars. Also knows what a good race car he has. A little bobble there coming off turn 4. Brand new race car they tested at Milwaukee, the sister car to the one they wrecked early in practice at Richmond. And they probably wish they had this one as the backup because the car is excellent today, Tony. Extremely happy and very good, especially on these old tires. That's why he was able to get around the 8 car.
Thanks, Marty. Tony Stewart, the defending series champion. There'll be a new champion at the end of this season. Kevin Harvick.
Right now Gordon needs help on both ends as far as it loose on entry, loose off, but it's also tight in the center. Brian Vickers said the biggest thing I need is help in the center of the corner. It's just way too tight. Air pressure change for Vickers, trying to score his first ever Nextel Cup Series win. Great stop. He's already away.
Marty?
Bill, a disastrous pit stop for Casey Mears, running in the top 10 or close to it for most of this run. He came in, he slid too close to the wall. They had to push him back, ran over the air hose. Now they have to start the stop all over again. Casey has been loose for most of this run. Dave?
Very, very tight race car for Kurt Busch on this run. They complete their 4-tire stop. They too made one of those chassis adjustments for Kurt, trying to make it turn better in the corners.
You just cannot make mistakes on pit road. Just too costly, whether you're in the chase or just trying to win the race. We've seen a few of them so far today. Kevin Harvick is the race leader by about a second over Jeff Burton. Mark Martin is 3rd. Ryan Newman up to 4th. Then it's Denny Hamlin and Matt Kenseth in 6th. Sorensen Stremme, Carl Edwards, and J.J. Yaley.
I can't find a spotter.
Top 10.
Harvick will be coming in this time. He saw him waving out the window, telling his competitors behind him, I'm coming in.
And his teammate Jeff Burton right behind him. Matt?
And Bill, Jeff Burton's team up on the wall waiting for him to hit pit road. Now he's lost overall grip late in that run. In fact, he said it was kind of hopping around, something it wasn't doing earlier. Going to pull a tear off the windshield to help with visibility. Remember, they didn't make any changes on their previous stop. Air pressure changed that stop, baby.
Well, Kevin Harvick's team wasn't planning on pitting for 5 more laps. But then when they saw some of these other guys pitting, they didn't want to give up the speed on fresh tires. Todd Berrier, the crew chief, called Kevin in a small chassis adjustment to help his corner exit. Denny Hamlin pits right behind him, Dave.
The 99 of Carl Edwards comes in. On this run, he started out loose. The car wanted to spin out, but now the car is tight. So they are planning on making a chassis adjustment as well as air pressure adjustment for Carl. Wedge will go in the right rear of the car. They will change 4 tires for Carl Edwards, still making his way down pit road. Matt?
Calling for a chassis adjustment on the 12 of Ryan Newman, the 2-time New Hampshire winner. Dave, he says the car's still tight. On their last stop, they went up. Significant change, 2 rounds on the track bar. Going up again. Still cannot work that tight in the center condition out of this race car.
Matt Kenseth headed for you, Marty.
He wanted to stay out and get 5 bonus points. Not sure if he did that or not,
did.
Bill.
He got them.
Very good. That was their goal. For Matt, absolutely no brakes. The problem we talked about in the pre-race show has come to fruition. Matt said it's going absolutely to the floor, guys. We've got to get something done there. We've got to check it if we can on the stop, but under green flag, you really can't do it. Oh, yeah, by the way, his car is also too loose. Down 1.5 rounds on the track bar trying to fix the chassis, but the brakes are the bigger concern on the 17 car.
Wow. With 128 to go.
And you're going to, talked about Matt has been struggling a little bit in this race. If your car's not working as good, you will use more brakes. You'll use more brakes on the car to try to set the car, not only to slow the car down, but you've got to stay on the brakes more. It actually gives the car grip when you're slowing down through the corner. So you'll ride that pedal a little bit longer. So that's maybe a problem Matt's having. He's using too much brake just because the car's not handling well. And Burton goes by the 20 car. of Stewart. These guys will start picking their way back through these lap cars.
J.J. Yaley and Robbie Gordon have yet to pit. They run first and second, then Vickers in third, followed by Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon. Working through a cycle of green flag pit stops here. Burton inside of his RCR teammate Clint Boyer. Burton in the 6th position. There's Vickers in 3rd and Harvick in 4th. And Harvick's car has just been fantastic to watch. Going to try and get the position here inside of the 25 of Vickers. Harvick's got it, Alan.
Yeah, and judging by the comments of the driver, by the way, Bill, it's been pretty fantastic to drive, too. Todd Berrier, as soon as Kevin Harvick came off pit road, told Kevin, the 25 of Vickers is going to be ahead of you. He pitted 5 laps before we did. He had 5 laps on fresher tires. Now Kevin's fresher tires showing up, and that pretty good race car, too, as he gets back by Vickers and moves on.
J.J. Yaley, the first of these guys fitting on the late strategy schedule, coming in here on lap 176. 4 tires and a chassis adjustment. His car has been tight, lacking some front grip. Now the only man not to pit, Robbie Gordon. He should be coming soon, Bill.
Thanks, Marty. It's been an adventurous day for Robbie. Even lost a wheel earlier in the race when they didn't get the lug nuts tight. It was fortunate that happened under the caution. There's Robbie, former winner here.
You see him waving, so he'll be hitting pit lane this lap.
Watch your speed, buddy. Watch your speed. Yellow line. Get all you can get from the white line to the bottom.
Robbie pitted under the caution at lap 98. So he had a little extra fuel to go a little extra distance. Marty.
And he used that little extra fuel to his advantage. Bill gaining 5 bonus points for Robbie. They're going to make a track bar adjustment for Robbie. His car a little bit too loose, so they're going to go down 1 round on the track bar, 4 tires and fuel. Once the air pressures come up for the 7 car, they're actually pretty fast. They can keep up with the leaders. So the longer they go, the faster Robbie gets.
So Harvick is the leader, and this is the race for 3rd in the upper left-hand corner, and there it is, Gordon and Burton. I want to point out that Mark Martin also got his 5 bonus points for leading a lap. And repeat that Matt Kenseth did as well. Gordon and Burton side by side for position at New Hampshire. Kevin Harvick is the race leader.
1 lap down right now, so that's why he was running those guys so hard.
And normally you'll run the race leader that hard, and when he gets by you, you know,
right,
you won't run the next guy as hard. But he really worked Harvick or Vickers hard, yes. It's Harvick and Casey Kane. Kane in the 21st position. Right now he's the last car on the lead lap until the 29 goes around him. Then he'll be the first car 1 lap down. And that would put him in position to get the lucky dog. With the way Harvick's going, you're going to have to hope the caution comes out in a hurry, Marty.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Bill. They're hoping for a caution. They're saying some cars are losing some things on the racetrack. A little bit of debris as Harvick's going to go by. Kane, you know, their strategy, they're trying to cobble something together because of that flat tire earlier. They're going to come in soon and take on 2 tires. Kane so far, though, able to hold Harvick behind him. Obviously, they have a pretty good race car. They can just get the strategy to work out for them.
And they do, Marty. Casey Kane's lap times have been very good since they changed that tire. And he is running Harvick hard on this high side right now. Now you see Harvick's going to drift up a little bit the racetrack. And that's normally what you do when you're getting aggravated with somebody. You go into the corner and you'll just let the car slide up into that other guy's door to let him know that you're starting to lose your patience.
Jeff Burton was the fastest car on the track on the previous lap, but Brian Vickers has consistently been posting very quick laps in that 25 car. In 2nd place, still trying to rope in Harvick. He's not recovered from his little racing experience with Michael Waltrip.
Right. He lost about 10 or 12 car lengths on the 29 car when that was taking place.
Let's check speeds at the line this time and see what happens. focus that time. And you can see how far back it is to 8th and 9th. Reed Sorensen in 10th with a good lap.
Well, half the field, and a little bit over half the field, is a lap or more down right now.
Right. 20 cars on the lead lap, the last one being Dave Blaney. There's Blaney in the bottom of the screen, and here comes Harvick with Blaney in his sights. So Kevin Harvick having an outstanding run. Just over 100 laps to go at New Hampshire in the
Under caution here at the Magic Mile, New Hampshire. Pit stop's already completed for the leaders. A great stop once again by the 25 crew for Brian Vickers. 13 seconds on his previous stop. He beat the 31 and possibly even the 24 off pit road. Dave?
The 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. was chattering the front tires. Basically a tight race car. He needed a wedge and an air pressure adjustment. They took on 4 tires. Carl Edwards, by the way, one of the cars that took on 2 only. Alan?
Kevin Harvick's team fixed the fender where he bounced off another car on the racetrack recently. Also got the back end of his car to where it'll slide around just a little more to match the grip of the front end. Richard Childress, team owner, came on the radio just after Harvick left the pits, asked crew chief Todd Berrier, can we make it to the finish on fuel from here? Todd said no, about 15 laps short.
And that was a 90-lap green flag run. The caution is for debris. It was in turn 3. It's already been picked up by the track workers. Casey Kane in the 9 car is the lucky dog. Kevin Harvick wins the race off of pit road. He's the race leader under caution at New Hampshire. When they come by this time, a handful of drivers took just 2 tires, including Ryan Newman in the 12 car, who's in second. .102 laps to go. And as the guys on pit road talked about, these teams not yet in their fuel window. And remember, the race here in July had 8 extra laps under NASCAR's green-white checkered rule.
Oh, there he goes.
Oh, Kyle Busch is around. And into the wall, Jeff Gordon and Matt Kenseth almost came together. Caution is out.
Kind of saw that one coming. They were 3 wide. They had split the 5 car, going down the backstretch into 3.
Let's go be the garage here, guys. Let's go be the garage.
Kyle Busch was just all over the track on that restart. Although that really wasn't his fault. The 07 of Clint Boyer got loose and slid up the racetrack and nailed him.
Now, Clint Boyer had only taken 2 tires on his stop.
Yeah, he got loose. You could see the front wheels were turned to the right. He was trying to save the car. Unfortunately, when you're on the outside of guys saving the race car, you're going to get the short end of the stick.
On board with Jeff Burton.
Hello, come on, come on, come on. Nice job, bud. Nice job. Real good.
Jeff Gordon was right there.
Matt Kenseth did a nice job, too, of staying out of trouble. So Kyle Busch, the second of our championship chasers to go to the garage after a wreck here in New Hampshire. Kevin Harvick is the race leader. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Looks like it's right next to the 29,
yeah.
like he was saying. Well, that'll make it a little more difficult.
Yeah, a little bit.
Harvick is the race leader. 202 laps are complete. Carl Edwards, Casey Mears, Matt Kenseth, Ryan Newman, Clint Boyer all took just 2 tires when they were on pit road under the previous caution. No lucky dog under this caution. It would have been the 5 car of Kyle Busch. He's gone to the garage after hitting the wall. Mears the first car, 1 lap down. Earlier in the race, it looked like the 2-tire deal worked okay.
Yeah. And I think it does for a while. If you can change the 2 tires and the yellows come out at the right time where you're not on those 2 tires for too long, right, then it does work.
Newman in second, Vickers. There's Mears, the first car a lap down, then the 24 of Gordon back and forth.
See, the 12 car's a little bit loose right there. The 25 car will make the pass. We're trying to make the pass right now. But Newman on 2 tires. You can see he's having a hard time. Those tires coming in right now. 25's going to get him.
Vickers to second. Now Jeff Gordon sets out after Ryan Newman. See Matt Kenseth in the 17. Matson 5th. Jeff Burton is 6th. Tony Stewart, Earnhardt Jr., Carl Edwards, Mark Martin. The top 10. To Marty.
Bill, this has not been the debut in the playoffs Hendrick Motorsports was looking for. The 5 car of Kyle Busch back in the garage area. Significant right front damage, as you can probably see. Right rear damage as well. They do have water pressure, so engine-wise, they should be fine. Some of these guys just finished fixing the 48 car not 20 minutes ago. Now they're back here trying to help out, trying to get this car back out on the racetrack for Kyle and keep him in contention to win this championship. Did ask Kyle if he would like to talk. He said he would rather not talk right now. It's been a tough day for the Kellogg's team.
Sure has. Oh, another car backwards.
Bobby Labonte.
And the caution is out. Number 8.
Now would this give them enough? If they came in topped off, they could probably go to the finish now.
That car is not going to turn too well.
And no need for that, man. That was wrong.
Lucky dog, Casey Mears in the 42 car. Let's see what we can see here. A lot of smoke and Bobby Labonte going the wrong way. Greg Biffle.
Well, he had to slow up there for Yaley on the 18 car, but I don't know if it looks like he may have gotten tagged when he slowed up. Because that car did turn around awfully quick.
So Bobby Labonte has come to a stop right at the exit of pit road. So the pits will remain closed, and this will put drivers even closer to their fuel window. So it's going to be one of those situations. What are you going to do? The leaders can either come in or stay out, but whatever the leaders do, some of these guys in the back of the field are going to do just the opposite. We can pay off our singular race talk question right here as you ride on board with Jeff Burton. How many additional points should NASCAR award for a victory? 25 bonus points. I think there'll be a change in that next year.
Yeah, I do too. There needs to be.
Yeah, I think NASCAR is going to emphasize winning, and it's something, like you said, needs to be done. Alan, what are you finding out down there?
Oh, I'm just listening to Todd Berrier, Kevin Harvick's crew chief, talk with Kevin about what to do under this caution. They first discussed that they are within their fuel window to make it to the finish from here. And so then they discussed whether or not they should pit. Basically, Todd said, yes, we're going to have to, but as you guys were discussing, there are going to be some other people that won't. We're going to end up getting shuffled back in traffic. That's not necessarily ideal, but we're pretty much going to have to. So we'll see how this plays out, but you know that Harvick and Berrier and company would much rather have that track position up front without being in all the craziness that can happen on some of these late restarts. Yeah.
Well, we've seen that cost a couple of guys, Johnson and Kyle Busch.
Yeah, and by the way, they have prepared a patch they're going to try and put over that hole in the right front headlight area of this 29 car.
Thank you, sir.
It's not really a big hole, but they have identified that there is one there. It does have a tendency to make the cars push because you're actually losing downforce because that pressure is escaping through the front of the car. So it actually creates lift. That air's going through and it's packing up in front of the engine and everything, and it actually lifts the front of the car. So it'll make the car a little bit tight, but it's not big enough to be a really big problem, but they do want to get it fixed.
Plus, Harvick knows it's there.
Yeah.
So he's going to want it fixed.
Exactly. That's in the back of your mind now, and the car is going to be tight no matter what.
They continue to try and get Bobby Labonte's car away from the exit of pit road. They've got it on the back of the record.
This time open.
And they're towing it away. Pit road will be open this time. Let's see what happens.
I think it'll be busy.
They're coming, Marty.
Yeah, guys, and this is the advantage of taking 4 last time. Most of the teams who took 4 will take fuel only. If you took 2 last time, like Matt Kenseth, you may take on left side tires, but it's going to be fuel only for the 17. A last-second call by Robbie Reiser. Matt.
And a 24 team already fuel in. Same thing for the 31 of Jeff Burton. The 25 Vickers likes the way his car is at the moment, Dave. No tires as well.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. wanted 4 tires, wanted to work on the race car, but they knew that everyone would be doing fuel only or 2-tire stops, so they took on 2 tires only at this point. Alan?
Top off the fuel tank, catch the headlight on the right front, send Kevin Harvick on his way, and he should still have the lead. That's this end of pit road. About everybody just gas and go.
Well, I'll tell you, it was a mess getting off of pit road down there. There you see the Band-Aid they put on the front of the 29 car. We'll sort out the running order, go back to green. 89 to go at New Hampshire. Center. The field should get the green this time, although there's some discussion at the front of the field as to where we belong.
This is where it gets interesting. Because you've got guys that are on tail end of lead lap, cars that are lap down. Some guys are on fresh tires. Some guys only have 2 tires. If these guys don't wreck after this restart, it'd be a miracle.
Riggs in the 10 and Michael Waltrip in the 55 did not stop. They're at the tail end of the lead lap. Blaney did not stop. He's the race leader. Harvick got fuel. He's 4th in line. This could get ugly early.
Yeah, this is where Harvick's got to be real careful, not force the issue. Just really pay attention to what's going on. We almost, what was that, 55?
Yep.
Michael gets way out of shape. Got to keep your eyes peeled right now on what's going on and let it sort out in front of you and start making your way through.
The 96 of Brains did not stop either. Yep.
Like Riggs slipped.
That's for the lead right there. Harvick and Blaney. Michael Waltrip up the track a little bit. Harvick trying to pinch it down low.
That's really where Harvick needs to be, is on the bottom, because when you're wrecking here, you normally go up to the top of the racetrack. So
Vickers has gotten around Blaney for 2nd.
Harvick trying again to put Michael Waltrip a lap down. Michael runs him hard. Not going to give it to him.
Michael is 25th, the last car shown on the lead lap until the leader gets by him. If the leader gets by him. Harvick fighting to get by him.
29. Really, Harvick squeezing Waltrip up the racetrack. Coming off of turn 4.
Vickers got by as well. So Harvick runs first. Brian Vickers in 2nd. An update on Harvick from Allen.
A couple things there, Bill. First of all, under the caution, Todd Berrier, Harvick's crew chief, asking Kevin to save all the fuel that he can in case we get an extended green-white checker like we did in the July race here, when we ended up running 308 laps. And then Kevin talked about having to be careful threading his way through this traffic, especially with Brian Vickers hot on his tail. He does not want to give up the lead. Matt?
Allen, same fuel strategy for the 25 of Vickers. They're good if we go the normal race distance. They are short if we go into a green-white checker situation. Now, he was comparing his car, the 25, to Harvick. Said Harvick can carry more speed into the corner. That's the only place he's getting beat at this moment.
Thanks, Matt. Pretty racy right here.
Yeah, these guys are going at it tooth and nail. 31 car, Jeff Burton on the bottom. You see Stewart on the high side. Burton trying to make that pass, but the car doesn't look like it really was handling there down on the bottom a couple laps ago. Trying to make it stick underneath Kenseth. Now, Kenseth, don't forget, it's on those 2 tires, so these guys should be able to get by Matt. Not sure that was the right move. We'll have to see how this works out.
His left side tires are approximately 50 laps old already on that 17 car. So Matt's going to have his hands full. Earnhardt Jr. back in that mess behind Mark Martin.
And Jr.'s sitting in 10th spot right now.
Mark's in 9th, and Denny Hamlin is just behind him.
And you see the 17 of Matt Kenseth already really sliding up the racetrack when he goes into the corner. See what he goes down into the corner here. Car goes way up to the middle, almost real high in the groove. Now these guys that are running the bottom are taking the short way around.
But Matt's got that brake problem too. Remember, they said his brake pedal was going to the floor. So Matt has more problems than just his tires. He's got that brake issue. There he is, drifting high again, and we've already seen two of the chasers in trouble today, the 48 and the 5. Marty, what are you working on?
Well, Matt's got his hands full, Bill. As you mentioned, now if my math serves me correct, those left side tires will have to run 128 laps if they are going to finish this race on this set of tires. They can go all the way on fuel. Now, the brake issue has not gotten better all day long for Robbie Reiser and for Matt Kenseth. He said the pedal is very soft out there right now, and I worked out a deal with Robbie this morning. He said if the brakes aren't working, don't ask me about them. They're not working, okay? But we got to get them fixed for Martinsville and Phoenix. They knew they had an issue going into today. As far as Tony Stewart, they have worked all day long on making this car better. Tony came on the radio under the last caution, said, guys, from the middle of the corner off, it's the best it's been all day. And Wally, if you want to be good in one spot here in New Hampshire, I would say it's middle of the corner off, wouldn't you?
Yep, definitely got to get through the middle. If you can get through the middle and just hammer the gas pedal, you're going to drive off these corners really straight. And that's exactly what Tony's doing right now. Started in 39th today, and he sits in the 5th spot. So those guys have done a really good job to rally back.
And he looked miserable on his qualifying lap, didn't he? There's Kevin Harvick. He's out front. Brian Vickers about a second and a half behind him. Dave Blaney is 3rd. Then it's Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart, the top 5 at New Hampshire.
Because right now he doesn't have the car that can win on speed. He can make it to the end on fuel, but it's still very tight, Alan.
Denny Hamlin, one of the championship chasers, running just outside the top 10, complaining about a general lack of overall grip on his car. His crew chief Mike Ford told me they're good to the finish on fuel, but you got to have grip to go fast. Dave?
Kurt Busch hoping his car will run well during this run without a change of tires. And the last time they only came in for fuel. Should be okay to the end, Marty.
It's going to be one of those days where Casey Kane gets out of the race car after it's over with and is just glad it's over with. He's going to be exhausted. Fell back into the 30s with a flat right front tire early. Now they came down pit road, put fuel in, and they're still 5 laps short from making it all the way. They said if you can find a place to save fuel, do it. Alan?
Pretty nice drive for Reed Sorensen in the 41, but for the last 100 laps or so, he's been complaining about the engine in his car, saying it sounds sick, it hasn't quit, and he's just outside the top 10, Matt.
Alan, it's been a struggle for Greg Biffle, currently running in the 15th position. Now, he finished 3rd with this same race car back in July, tried the same setup. They have just missed it slightly most of this weekend, and they are close as well on fuel.
Thanks, Matt. That's the top 15 through the field. There are 21 cars on the lead lap. Kyle Busch has returned to the track in the 5 car. He's 24 laps down in 38th. Jimmy Johnson, 66 laps down, runs in the 40th position.
It's been pretty ugly.
That was early. 3 guys all in the chase. Only 1 spotter. Allstate Good Hands Award. There's Kevin Harvick. Has just had a fantastic ride today. He's led 139 of the 244 laps. Leads Brian Vickers by about a second and a half.
Reminds me of a Busch race we've seen a couple of times this year. Boy, when he gets it right, he just has him covered.
His teammate Jeff Burton in the 6th spot. More on Harvick from Allen.
Yeah, Bill, I talked with crew chief Todd Berry this morning about Kevin Harvick and about the team's approach to this championship and the season in general. Kevin Harvick had the nickname Happy Harvick for a long time, but when things didn't go well, he wasn't the happiest guy. But Kevin came into this year saying he learned a lot about life and about racing and about his place in the business. And Kevin Harvick has been a much easier going, much more not riding the roller coaster guy this year. Todd Berrier told me this morning Kevin doesn't dwell on the bad anymore like he used to. It's better for the team, it's better for him, and we'll keep that up all the way through this chase, hopefully to a championship.
Thanks, Alan. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been trying to work around Ryan Newman.
And Casey Kane has caught him. And that's a great comeback. And I know they're short on fuel, but still, those guys were awful. Casey Kane right now sits in the 10th spot, working on 9th spot right now, Marty.
And Wally, Casey's in a weird place right now because he knows they're 5 laps short on fuel. They keep asking him to save as much as they can on fuel, but, you know, he's also got a fast race car. So do you go here, Wally, or do you try and save fuel? Do you try and make it to the end, hoping for a caution, or what do you do
think
here?
Wally's going to say?
Well, he's going to say go, but I mean, he's also got to keep in mind he's only got 10 races trying to win this championship too.
Well, it's going to be real tough to save 5 laps worth of fuel. But, yeah, you just got to go for it.
So at least you're going really fast.
Yeah, at least you're going fast and you're having fun doing it. It's no fun when you've got to try to save fuel. Boy, the 8 is just shoving the 12 right now. I think Junior's probably, I mean, this is 4th position. So Newman's racing hard right now, but Junior just can't find the spot to get around. Now he's going to work on the high side, and is that going to work? No, that's not going to work either. He's trying everything he can, though.
Dave?
And he radioed to the crew, help me out. What that means is my spotter go talk to the 12 spotter. But again, Newman racing for position. Wally does not have to move out of the way. Junior's going to get him finally on the inside. And this is good news because Junior wasn't sure his car would be corrected by simply adding 2 right side tires. And it appears to be moving forward. He restarted 11th. And this, I think, is the fight for 8th.
Yes, it is.
And he finally got him.
Kevin Harvick up front, a 2.5 seconds ahead of Brian Vickers. That's a good battle back there for 8th. It's Newman, Earnhardt, Kane. Our next Talk Cup championship. And Mark Martin trying to work his way around that determined Ryan Newman.
We're at the 10th spot.
You talk about Harvick and Burton, who runs 6th, and it's just a tremendous salute to the way Richard Childress has turned around that entire operation there. And Alan was talking about Harvick being more content, focusing more on the positive. And you have to believe some of that comes from Burton just joining that organization over there, because that's his kind of outlook as well.
Yeah, and Richard's not afraid to make changes. I mean, he made some huge changes with that race team. He moved a lot of people around because they knew they had the equipment. They knew they had the people. I mean, the resources were there. They just needed to put the pieces in the right place, and they finally have done it.
We've got 2 drivers in the chase. Schrader in that 21 car has scored 34th, 5 laps down. That's the car Harvick just got by. Harvick leads. Burton's in 6th, and Matt has an update there.
Bill, he's faded to about 9 seconds back of his teammate Kevin Harvick. Now Jeff Burton just came on the radio back on lap 256 and says, I've lost the handle on exit, and this car just will not turn, will not roll through the center of the corner. That's his biggest issue right now, just trying to hang on to this 6th place run at the moment.
And that's been the story of this team for the last 5 or 6 races. They go out and they'll lead laps and they'll dominate, and then when it gets to the closing stages of the race, the car gets to a push, and that's what they fight. See him go through the corner here. He'll pick up the throttle. Really can't pick up the throttle very aggressive, and like Matt was saying, if the car's tight, you won't be able to, because you've got to wait for the car to turn further before you can get on the throttle. So you're rolling here, now you start picking up the gas. You should be flat in it right there, but he's not flat in it till way later because the car's not turning. If you get on the gas where I want to put it, you would have hit the wall if your car's tight. So he's having to wait on this car to turn far enough before he can get hard on the throttle.
And no pressure from behind because he's got a 4-second lead over Matt Kenseth, who's in 7th. Burton runs in 6th.
Vickers is coming.
In 2nd place, 2nd and a little more behind the leader, Matt.
Bill, he's been hovering right around the same lap times as leader Kevin Harvick. The last lap, he was 0.2 of a second faster, but he's still almost a second and a half back. His biggest concern, though, is his teammate Jeff Gordon, who has gone about the last 15 laps. He has reeled him in over a second. So Vickers trying to reel in the 29, but will probably have his hands full with his teammate, the 24 of Gordon, as well.
Harvick out front, then Vickers. Just 38 laps to go here at New Hampshire. Laps to go. Pit road will be open this time. A lot of guys right on the edge of their fuel window. And most of the leaders appear to be staying out. Tony Stewart headed for pit road, along with Dave Blaney.
Matt Kenseth is in. I figured they would have to come in.
Earnhardt, Casey Kane, Marty.
Well, it's a big debate on the 17 radio as to whether or not to come down pit road. Remember, these left side tires have been on here since lap 172. They opt for the 4 tires and the fuel to make it all the way. Alan?
Denny Hamlin going to give up his position just outside the top 10. They're going to take right side tires and a splash of fuel in this 11 car. The fuel was not the issue, but they're looking to see if the tires might help them run up through this top 10, Dave.
On lap 250, Dale Earnhardt Jr. called his car a really bad name, so they're going to change 4 tires, make a really big adjustment, and try to finally get this 8 car in contention for the win.
What was that name, Dave?
Cannot be repeated.
Under caution. Field is coming to get the green. There will be 30 laps to go when the green comes out. The top 4 drivers, Harvick, Vickers, Gordon, Burton, did not pit.
Well, we're about to find out what fresh tires really means here in New Hampshire.
Matt Kenseth restarted 10th. He took 4 tires. Black flag the 96 of Tony Raines for jumping the restart. He will come to pit road. 3 wide back there. The 18 of J.J. Yaley, the 19 of Elliott Sadler, the 9 of Casey Kane took 2 tires. Scott Riggs brought out the last caution. Popped it. Was it right front?
Right front tire looked like it blew going down into turn 3.
The report from pit road is they melted the bead on that tire. And that's from your brakes?
That's from your brakes, yeah. Get too much temperature on the front brakes.
Gordon in 3rd, Burton in 4th. On board with Jeff Burton. Right behind him. You've got chasers running in 4 of the top 5 positions, with Vickers in 2nd in that 25 car. Update from Matt.
Bill, shortly before that caution, Steve Letarte told Gordon, we are 1 to 2 laps short on fuel. His lap times then stopped. Reeling in, his teammates started going down a 10th to 2/10 a lap. Now with that caution, they are good, but they stayed out, so they wouldn't have to deal with the lap traffic on the inside on that restart. Alan?
Denny Hamlin's team using some strategy, came down pit road from 11th spot, got 2 tires only, got out in 5th and took this restart. He's pressing Jeff Burton to try and get 4th. Mike Ford told Hamlin, you're the first car with the freshest tires. Let's see if we can get some of these guys. And some of the guys who got 4 tires, like Earnhardt Jr. and the others, they're mired back in traffic right now, so Hamlin's got a free hand.
You're right, Alan. They are really trying to shake free back there, and it's just not working as well as they were hoping. And we're going to find out really how much fuel these guys have, if they truly do have enough. Harvick, Vickers, Gordon, Burton, Denny Hamlin, the top 5. Want to show you what happened to Scott Riggs' car. He brought out the most recent caution, coming right at you. And again, the report from pit road, they melted a bead on that tire. That's what brought out the most recent caution. Dale Earnhardt Jr. working over Matt Kenseth. And again, Kenseth has fresh tires, but still a problem with the brakes.
Whoa! Kenseth drives it sideways off the corner. And this is, you know, for 10th spot, but it's a position. These guys are both in the chase, so they're racing each other really, really hard.
Plus, if Earnhardt gets by Kenseth, look at the line of traffic behind him.
Yeah, I think Junior's probably a little bit quicker than Kenseth right now. So obviously, the 8 Earnhardt can get around him. He thinks he can leave him, but boy, 17 running him hard, Marty.
Well, Wally Matt's doing the best he can. You saw he got a great run from the middle of the corner off, was able to pull some distance between him and Dale Earnhardt Jr. He said, tighten me up for this late run, round and a half down on the track bar. He's doing the best he can, holding on with some very soft brakes. Dave?
And Wally said, you know, racing for 10th position. Well, this is racing for the championship, right?
That's right.
I mean, Junior knows 5 points more over Matt Kenseth will get him closer to the title. So he's trying to race really hard right now. Thinks he has a car that he can drive harder than before that pit stop.
And if you get a top 10 here, this is one of those tracks where you walk away thinking maybe you stole a little bit, because a lot of guys don't have a lot of good racing luck or good racing history here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, I think this is a racetrack that really would like to get out of the way early in the deal.
Because so many things can happen.
That's right. Talladega's another one that you kind of go in just, you know, shaking your head and shrugging your shoulders going, man, I don't know. But I think you're right. A lot of these guys would be happy leaving here with the top 10.
Mark Martin, who said on the countdown to green was already looking ahead to Dover, is back in 14th. Would love to get himself a top 10. He's back there, he's right there with Casey Kane in the 9.
And you look at guys like Jimmy Johnson right now and Kyle Busch, they're 140 plus points, 139 points, 146 points back right now going into Dover. That's brutal.
That's a deep hole. Saw that Kevin Harvick right now, as they run, leads the championship. Harvick has never led the point standings in his Nextel Cup career. Earnhardt looking at Ryan Newman. There's Mark and Casey Kane, two of the guys in the chase. This is for 13th. Marty?
Well, Bill, this is a case of 4 tires versus 2. Mark Martin has the 4. Casey Kane, unfortunately, has the 2 from the last stop. Very disgusted with the way his car is handling. Casey is at the end of this race, and it just will not turn. And Mark, with those 4 tires, hit the car, you know what? Pretty good, but it takes a while for it to come in, and they're running out of time. Only 18 to go.
And you can see Casey Kane just sliding up the racetrack. He's lost grip of that car. So he's got 18 laps to go. And he's just going to try to hope that he doesn't lose too many more spots. But there's Robbie Gordon in the 7th. And Greg Biffle right there trying to gobble him up, too. So he's driving his heart out. He just wants to do the least amount of damage as possible. And here we go.
Teammates for 2nd. Vickers in the 25, Gordon in the 24. Gordon is in the chase. Vickers is not. Vickers is hunting for his first Nextel Cup Series victory. This goes on about a 1.5 seconds behind race leader Kevin Harvick. And Gordon wasn't very happy with Vickers earlier in the race.
Tapped him right there going down the straightaway.
They just told Brian Vickers, let him go. He's much faster than we are at the moment. They've got a great run going on for the 25 team, as well as the 24. Looking at the bigger picture, his 5th championship. Remember, these two were battling earlier. Gordon was a little upset with his teammate in the 25.
Well, he's not letting him go.
He's not letting him go.
See, this is when Vickers is thinking back. I remember what he was doing to me earlier in the race.
Yeah, he didn't just let me by.
Made him work for it. That'll probably come up in a meeting on Monday. You see Burton and Tony Stewart right behind him. Meanwhile, Kevin Harvick has pulled away to a 2-second lead, Alan.
And his team is going to keep a very careful eye on the gap from Harvick back to Jeff Gordon. Just before Gordon finished the pass on Brian Vickers, Todd Berrier told Kevin Harvick, Jeff Gordon's been running some slightly faster lap times than you. I'll keep you posted.
Stewart to 4th. There's the battle for 2nd. Gordon in the 24, Vickers right behind him now.
They're not worried about the brakes anymore. I mean, they're all running as hard as they can right now. Certainly nobody's worrying about fuel.
13 to go.
Junior working on Kenseth.
Again.
Junior's been pretty fast. I mean, watching his lap times, and his lap times have been very good. A couple laps ago, he was the fastest car running, but he's been having to pass a lot of cars and race with guys. Just doesn't have enough to roll through the center far enough to where he can pull off the pass.
He's working awful hard, Dave.
He had that big gap a few laps ago where he really backed off from the 17, and it was at that point that he radioed to his crew, 0 forward fight. Couldn't get off the corners to challenge the 17, but he's cooled his tires down, he's gathered himself back up, and he's really put on yet another charge to try to get that position away from Matt.
There's 20, Stewart underneath Vickers.
That's for 3rd.
Stewart takes it.
Kenseth runs in the 10th spot. Earnhardt is 11. Again, these two drivers are in the chase. Matt Kenseth is just going to be whipped after this race is over. How about him, Marty?
And Bill, remember, he's doing all of this for the brake issue that just has not worked all day long. A very soft pedal. So what Matt's doing, he's letting off 3 or 4 car links earlier than everybody else, at least he was earlier in the race. But that allows him to get back to the gas, not use as much brake in the middle of the corners. And plus, the car is handled fairly well in the second half of this race. And when your car handles better, you use less brake, and that's really helped out the 17 as well.
Now you've got Newman working under Earnhardt, and he's got the advantage right there. Mark Martin right there taking a look, deciding which way he wants to go.
Earnhardt's car just wouldn't work in that low groove. Just couldn't get it done down there.
He just can't get through the center, and Mark Martin gets underneath both of them.
Mark Martin with the move. Caution is out. Kyle Petty has lost an engine, it appears. Alan?
All right, Bill, so here we go with the green-white checker fuel situation. Todd Berrier, Kevin Harvick's crew chief, told me just a few moments ago they were good on fuel to at least lap 304 from their last pit stop. Then they had Kevin try and save some fuel under these last couple of cautions, so I don't expect any appearance on pit road from the race leader. I expect that they're going to ride it out and hope we don't end up at like lap 308 like we did in the July race here.
That's right. The July race extended 8 laps under NASCAR's green-white checkers rule. But the biggest thing here at a race is that 2.5-second lead that Harvick had. Puts Gordon right on his bumper, and Tony Stewart, who's been really charging the last 10-15 laps.
Yeah, and it will be a single file restart, so he doesn't have those cars on the bottom to help him get away. Kevin Harvick doesn't.
7 laps to go. One piece of business to do here. NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on TNT, brought to you by Sony, the official high-definition television of NASCAR.
It's really getting through the gears and getting into 1 and through 2 clean.
And hoping nobody misses a shift.
Right.
I think that Tony Stewart's going to be a lot of fun to watch in these final 10 races.
Yeah, because he doesn't have anything to lose on this deal.
Right.
And that's one thing that, you know, Jeff Gordon's thinking about, and 29, Harvick's thinking about a championship. Well, Tony Stewart's not. He's just thinking about winning. and ruining these guys' party.
Harvick, the race leader. The field coming to get the green. 4 laps to go. The first of the 10-race chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. Kevin Harvick has led 191 of the 295 laps. Started from the pole. He's got Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart right behind him.
Laying back.
Watch the restart.
Stewart to the outside of the 24. That's good for Harvick. These guys running side by side, but Tony Stewart cleared him quick. Stewart to second.
Come on.
Stewart on fresher tires.
Harvick did not want to see that on his car in his mirror.
Vickers back on the bumper of Gordon.
What was that all about?
Casey Kane back in the middle of all that, but Robbie Gordon was the car swinging far to the inside.
Denny Hamlin trying to get that spot away. 4th spot from Vickers. Got him cleared so far.
Field through turns 3 and 4. 2 laps to go. Does Harvick really have enough fuel? Does Tony have enough time? Stewart driving for all he's worth. Not a championship contender this season, trying to get the victory. Harvick has never led the point standings in his Nextel Cup career. Coming to get the white flag this time. Final lap at New Hampshire. An impressive season so far for Kevin Harvick and for Richard Childress Racing. Has 2 drivers in the chase, one leading this race, 1 in 7th. It's going to be a disappointing day for Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson, but not for Kevin Harvick. He comes off of turn 4. No one will catch him. The chase begins at New Hampshire, and Kevin Harvick wins.
Awesome job. Way to adjust on this thing, man.
Oh! Trouble Truex coming off of 4. Oh, right. Oh, man, he gets Quapple and Tony Raines. Car is tore up.
Boy. The net down on the 32. There's Travis.
Quapple took a hit, too.
Unofficially, Newman got back around Dale Earnhardt for 12th. That would move Earnhardt back to 13th. Casey Kane 16th.
Well, let's see. Looks like the 1 car gets a little bit sideways, getting off of 4, and the 40 car, David Stremme, just gets into him. And then he just slid up in front of all these other guys.
He got the 32, and the 32 got Raines in the 96.
Pretty much the end of a miserable day anyway, boy, for Martin Truex.
Boy, Travis is lucky.
Yeah.
Here they are coming off of 4.
Yeah, Martin just got a little bit loose getting off of 4, and Stremme was right under his left rear and kind of finished him off.
Chevy congratulates Kevin Harvick and the 29 Monte Carlo SS on another great Team Chevy victory. 25 of the last 34 NASCAR manufacturers championships and counting. Chevy, an American revolution. Dave?
With Todd Barrier now, the winning crew chief. Last week I said maybe after that win you guys were the guys to fear, and you didn't necessarily give me an answer. What about now?
We got Dover next week, and a lot more after that. So now, you know, there's a lot of racing left.
I mean, obviously we started out right, but we got to keep it up. Momentum's a lot of it. Attitude's 80% of the battle, so we ain't got but 20% to fight. So obviously we're better than we could be.
Your short and intermediate track program has been very good this year, a couple of wins, and you have a couple more of those tracks coming up, Todd.
Well, the plan is to win all we can win. You know, we got to go at it as hard as we can. So we're just real fortunate. Just thank the Lord for having a safe race and a good race car, and they're letting us live this life we're living right now.
29 in victory lane. Crew Chief Todd Barrier made the calls today. Matt?
This one had all the drama. Jeff Gordon close on fuel, and then a late restart. What happened to the car in the restart there, Jeff?
No, we were bad on restarts all day. You know, our car was just set up for the long run. We showed that early on, and we lost the handling on it a little bit there towards the middle of the race, but that last set of tires was the best one we had all day. And, you know, Tony had 4 tires or 2, whatever he took, and we, yeah, I'm happy, man. I'm happy. This is a great way to start the chase. We led some today, and, you know, we let Harvick get one, but, you know, he's been strong all weekend, and we'll have our weekends where we're that strong, and, you know, we'll take a 3rd place when we can get it. But we did the best we can, made on fuel. Hard to beat those guys on tires. I knew if I went to the top, Tony's going to go to the bottom, so, you know, I tried to protect the bottom where I was best. I saw him run all day, and he got by me on that side.
Strong top 5 finish for Jeff Gordon. Now let's go to victory lane and Alan Bestwick.
And here comes the winner, Kevin Harvick. I think the happy nickname fits right about now. Kevin, congratulations. Led 196 of 300 laps. I want to take you backwards through the race just a little bit. When the caution came out late and erased your 2-second lead, and then you saw the 20 car come up behind you. What were you thinking?
Well, I was thinking that it's a good thing we're on a restart because it's hard to get these cars going, but got to thank Reese's. Glad to finally get them into victory lane. We've had a lot of success with our GM Goodwrench car, but man, this thing was a little bit tight in the beginning. We made some really big adjustments on it through the day, so just have to thank Todd and all my guys for making this thing better through the whole race.
A race like that when you're out front so much looks easy from the outside. Was this a difficult race, or is it easy when you're out front like that?
Well, it's good for your car. You can save your brakes and save your tires and save a lot of things. So I tried to tear it up a couple times today, just probably being a little bit too aggressive. But all in all, I was really worried about the 24 if he got around in 25. So restarts didn't hurt us at all, and we were able to keep going forward.
What does championship momentum mean for you? You've certainly got it.
Yeah. I mean, we just have to keep doing what we're doing at this point. If we keep winning races and doing what we need to do there, we're not going to get outscored in points. So we know we're going to have some bumps in the road, and we just have to score all we can when our cars are really good.
The early race thing, 3-wide thing on lap 37 with Denny Hamlin and Jeff Burton. From the outside, that looked a little aggressive a little early. Were you having any second thoughts about that afterwards?
Well, I think, at this point, I mean, it's all about the championship and just going for it and throwing caution to the wind and just going after winning races. So if it would have went the other way, it probably would have been a bad move. But in hindsight, probably shouldn't have done it. But you can't tell. We're all not very smart as we sit in the driver's seat. So, if you look back at it, probably wouldn't have done it again. But oh well.
You lead the championship for the first time in your career. A thought on Dover next week?
Yeah, that's super exciting. I mean, it's been an awesome turnaround. I got to thank Richard and all these guys for working as hard as they did to turn these cars around from where they were last year. And everybody on this car, Snap-on, Sylvania, Goodwrench, SKF, Emerson, Sherwin-Williams, GM Card, Realtree, and everybody that helps us.
You got them all in. Congratulations, Kevin Harvick, the winner today. Marty?
Alan, the word for Dale Earnhardt Jr. today is frustrating. It seemed like the car just would not work at the end of the race. What was going on?
We're just real tight in the center of the corner. We worked on it really hard all day. Tony Jr. and the guys tried their best. There at the end, we made it a little bit worse. Tried to really did ourselves in, and I couldn't move forward. I lost a couple spots there last lap, and we just didn't do the best job we could today. We tried really hard.
You seem very disappointed.
We should have run better. I mean, dang, I'm supposed to, get clowned so much over the years for not caring, but it's down in there, man. I want to win this bad, and today is really, really frustrating, but, I got a lot of confidence in my team, and, we'll do better. We're way better than this, We're good enough to win this championship.
And you can tell he really wants it. Dale Jr. finishes 13th.
And Denny Hamlin, how would you describe your 300 laps here at New Hampshire today?
It was a roller coaster for sure. I mean, we just hung around 6th to 10th all day long, and really just couldn't get this car to go like it had at Richmond and other places. So, we got to figure some stuff out to get a little bit better. But Mike made a great call at the end with 2 tires, and we were able to get those guys at the end.
And a great save early on as well for Denny Hamlin. He comes home 4th here in New Hampshire. Dave?
And Tony Stewart talking to the media down here. And going to take a minute with us now as well. And Tony, I'm going to go with the subject that you were just discussing. You raced to a second-place finish today, but it was a little tough to race around the chasers who were trying to race for championship around you.
Well, it's the first time that we've been in this situation, being on the outside of the chase. I finally have the answer to the question that when people always ask, well, if you could change one rule, what would you change? And I'd have made this day a 2-race deal. I'd have had 11th to the rest of the field in points, run their own 200-mile race, and then I'd have had the top 10 guys run their own 200-mile race, because it's very nerve-wracking to race those top 10 guys in points and race them hard for position and feel comfortable. You're so timid around them and scared that you're going to, if you make one little mistake around them and cause them to have a wreck like the 48 had today, you've just ruined a guy's chance to win a championship. And I know what that felt like last year. I appreciated all the guys around us. It just makes it really frustrating to have to race those 10 guys. You respect them, and that's why you race them with such caution. But it makes it really hard to go out and race for wins when you got to worry about that. So the good thing is, we had a good day. We had we had a situation where, we either stay on the racetrack and probably run 3rd or 4th to Jeff and those guys, or we can come in and take a chance on trying to win the race. So I'm glad we made the call that we made. Worked out for us, and we got the 2nd with it.
Interesting perspective, Bill, from the still reigning champ and second-place finisher today.
Thanks, Dave. 4th win in 2006 for Kevin Harvick. His 1st win at New Hampshire and his 12th race here. His 3rd win in the last 6 races. His 7th top 5 in the last 10 races. You want to talk about momentum. That 2019 has it. See, Matt Kenseth came home in 10th. Mark Martin got the 11th spot. Dale Earnhardt Jr., you heard the frustration in his voice, back to 13th. Casey Kane in the 16th position. 22 cars finished on the lead lap. And here's the page people are going to be talking about. Jimmy Johnson back in the 39th spot. Kyle Busch was in 38th. Here are the unofficial championship standings with 9 races to go in the chase for the 2006 Nextel Cup. As Alan pointed out, Kevin Harvick leads the championship standings for the first time. And Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch are in a hole.
They really are. And it's tough to lead this place with that many points down. And, there's going to be guys in this chase that are going to run good each weekend. And that's why it's very, very hard to make those points up.
We'll see what happens. The chase for the championship continues from Dover next Sunday, and TNT is your home for all the drama. Our coverage begins at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time with the Bank of America Countdown to Green. Next on TNT, Sleepy Hollow in the east and Heat in the west. Kevin Harvick on top of the championship standings for the first time. His first win at New Hampshire. He's chasing his first series championship. We race on to Dover. We'll see you next Sunday on TNT.